All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division, covering what's going on with the Errol Spence Jr. Terence Crawford fight. And Errol Spence Jr. himself makes a big admission about Terence Crawford and who reasonable people should think, at least the Vegas odds should think, wins this fight. And surprisingly, it's not Errol Spence. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon. In this video, we are once again going to be talking about the biggest fight in boxing, a fight that is going to be taking place on July 29th in Las Vegas between Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford. Errol Spence Jr. is the WBC, IBF, and WBA welterweight champion, and he will be fighting the WBO champion Terence Crawford for the undisputed title in the welterweight division. Some people say the first undisputed title in the whatever four belt era this is that people call it. No. For the majority of boxing history, there's only been one champion in a weight division, and that was the champion. Don't want to add, I'm not a big fan of acting as if somebody's making a record or doing something that another boxer did. Really, when all we have is a bunch of sanctioning bodies slicing up everything and just making it hard for boxers to actually become the champion. So with that said, it is a big fight. Probably the best combination of a big money fight and a competitive fight that we've had in a very, very long time. Really can't think of the last time that we've seen that. It really may be back when Hearns and Leonard fought. Could be. You could consider fights like Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones Jr. to have been that as far as what was in the ring. It just didn't have all the hoopla around it and the money around it because it was early in their careers. But what have you, great fight. And of course, there's a lot of talk about who's going to win. And Errol Spence Jr., for his part, answered a question on multiple occasions. And in this video, I'm going to talk about it because it's what makes me feel more confident in Errol Spence Jr. and just taking him seriously in what he says, because he answered a question about why is it that Vegas has Errol Spence Jr. as the underdog to Terence Crawford. And Errol answered the question in a way that I thought was surprising and very honest. But before we get into that, I just want to tell you real fast about today's sponsor, the Boxing Showtime app. It's a very useful app that keeps you updated on all things boxing, and you can keep up with the latest fights, where to watch them, the latest news, and a lot more. For any hardcore boxing fan like myself, and most likely all of y'all, I would definitely recommend downloading it. And it also is most definitely a big support to the channel. It's available for both Apple and Android, and you can find the link in the description below. Thanks for considering downloading Boxing Showtime's app. But let's get back into the subject matter of the video. He said, look, man, I should be the underdog. After everything that I've gone through, all the ups and downs, the car accidents, the retinas, the eye injury, all of those type of things, you should have me as the underdog. That would be the reasonable thing to do. Now, when Terence Crawford was asked that question, Terence Crawford would say, so why do you think you're the favorite? And Terence Crawford said, well, because everybody knows I'm going to win. That's just what you should. Everybody can know I'm going to win. Now, let's for a second, just for the fun of it, analyze those two answers. Both guys think that they're going to win the fight, say that they're going to win the fight. Not getting it wrong. We're talking about the perception of other people. Errol Spence Jr. says that people should think that I'm the underdog because of everything that I've gone through. Terence Crawford says, well, everybody knows that I'm going to win. That's why, because they should know that I'm going to win. They know that he's not on my level, right? But at the same time, Terence Crawford will say things like, I'm going to prove all the naysayers wrong, and actually behaves in a way as if he's got a chip on his shoulder for the fact that people think he's going to lose the fight. Now, you could say, well, he could be the favorite and still be mad at the people that he thinks are going to win the fight, think he's going to win the fight. But I don't know, man. I just get a whiff of inconsistency there. If you are the guy that is the favorite, you're the big favorite because everybody knows that you're going to win. There really shouldn't be too much of a chip on your shoulder about what other people have to say. But it shows that Terence Crawford is motivated by external motivations, what fans think of him, trying to silence critics and all of that good stuff, which is fine. Errol Spence Jr. for me comes across as somebody that is very, very honest and is actually telling you what he's thinking, actually telling you what he's feeling, actually telling you what he's going to try to do, and does not waver from that. And actually, in one of the interviews that he said this which was the $1 million worth of game interview with Gilly and Wallow on that podcast, Errol Spence Jr. said, look, man, I don't lie about nothing. And was just very straightforward about like just the things that you ask, giving people honest answers to the questions. Like when Gilly the Kid talked about, him knowing how to be flashy and that money makes money, and that you got to show money to make money, or I think that was Wallow that said you got to make money, show money to make money. He pretty much rejected that. And he said, look, man, I don't really have that big a house. I live in like a 3,000 square foot house. I'm looking to build a bigger house, but my house is only around 3,000 square feet. Now, by the way, 3,000 square feet is not a small house. It's not a mansion. It's not a small house. It's a nice house for somebody that has a girlfriend and 3 children living with them. You can live on, I think he said he's got like 68 or 70,000 acres of land. So, obviously it's a big piece of property, but not a tremendously big house, but just not somebody that is really into fronting and flossing and making you feel, selling you something that's not real, which to me makes him that much more dangerous, because it seems to be somebody that's not only honest with other people, he's honest with himself. If you give him a question, he's going to give you a thoughtful answer. If he's got a problem, he's going to address that problem. He's going to work towards solving the problem that he recognizes that he has. Like, you can compare his situation between he and Adrian Broner, right? Adrian Broner has had many hurdles, it seemed, at least up until this age. And I don't want to discount Adrian Broner and the progress and where he'll ultimately get, because he's only 32, 33 years old. He's around the same age as Errol Spence Jr. is, right? He started off young, was big name in boxing for a long time now, but still, he's a relatively young man. But you see that, he just kind of talks about what he's going to do, and then it seems to go the other way. Then something happens and he says he's going to change, and he goes the other way. And and a lot of that just appears to be just mouth, right? And just him saying what he's going to do, not necessarily doing it and sticking with it. Where when Errol gets in that car accident, he's saying, look, that's a message to God for me about, you got to get your stuff together. Tomorrow ain't promised, right? And so after he does that, what's his situation? He gets up out of the car accident, after the car accident, stays in the hospital for a long time, months in the hospital. I think 6 weeks. I think he said he was in the hospital like six weeks. But then right after that, he's back in the gym, looking at people train, even though he's too sore to train. Then eventually he gets up and he's hitting the bags a little bit, but just focused even from that point in time on fighting Terence Crawford. And that, I think, is going to be the real interesting thing about this fight, because Errol has had almost single-minded focus on Terence Crawford for a long time. And I'm not so sure if that's the case with Terence Crawford, but I like the honesty and the realistic outlook on the world and the truthful communications coming from Terence Crawford, which you really don't get in a lot of situations. Errol Spence, you really do get a lot of people just, like the Tyson Furies of the world, just saying one thing then doing another. It's kind of refreshing. But I don't really think any of that's going to have a lot to do with the fight. It's really going to be those guys, what they do that night that's going to decide the winner. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.